Welcome everybody. This video will be about the NIO World Model. So we are talking about NIO's approach to full self-driving and the possible DeepSeek moment of NIO that I talked about in the past, right? So in the literal background, you will see a video and we're talking about what NIO is doing in the background because some of this remains a little bit unknown. But I'm trying to shed light on what we know so far and where I think this will be leading. So this has been a ride between cities, I think between Shanghai and Nanjing, something like that, more than 30 kilometers of a ride that has been recorded. Don't quote me on the location exactly, but why I'm saying this is the first time I heard about this video that there has been an inner city, in between city ride made by NIO without any hand on the steering wheel. I thought, well, that's not necessarily something new. First of all, I experienced it myself with driving on the highway with a NIO autonomously, and we've had videos like that before, right? But as you can see in the background, this video started in a parking lot, and that's something that we haven't seen from NIO so far. We saw it from some competitors. If I remember correctly, Huawei is pushing such videos. I think Li Auto is pushing such videos. Usually those are the end-to-end latest models by some of the other manufacturers and demonstrating their capabilities in China. Also lately, of course, Tesla pushing its own version of FSD in China, and we also see some of those videos published. But from NIO, we have never seen something like that so far. So that gave me a little bit of a hint that we might see something new coming here from NIO, and I've speculated around the NIO World Model for some time, right? You've seen it possibly already in previous videos on the channel. If you haven't yet, maybe you're new to the channel, then at this point in time, please consider subscribing to this channel in order to not miss out on any videos in the future. And if you appreciate these videos, then I would also really love to see that you are smashing the like button. But anyways, back to this video and the demonstration here. This is certainly showing a leap in what NIO cars can do, because the latest thing that I personally experienced by NIO was the NOP Plus, so the pilot feature by NIO, which is actually able to do stuff within the city. So if you remember the presentations that I've shown with Ren Xiaoqing on stage, he basically was saying that they will be using existing paths that have been traveled by users before and go off of the path that literally go off of the path strategically to make those self-driving capabilities only available at certain roads that are actually on high definition maps, and also have some sort of a geofencing to it, where it has been working really flawlessly without any any problems where the driver has to take over. But the other approach that NIO tested with the NIO Pilot Plus wasn't that successful. This is where people got really starting to ask the capabilities of NIO. That's when the car went off of the predestined roads and was actually oftentimes struggling, and there were problems when the car really didn't make the right decisions. And so that was the latest status of what I personally had tested in the market, and I think that's what's currently in the cars of most users. But now with this video, we can see that this is involving inner city driving. It's involving complex situations like driving in roundabouts, driving left-hand turns, and so on. So all of that seems that might be based on the latest approach by NIO, which is the NIO World Model. And that, if you remember correctly, should be leaping beyond end-to-end technologies that the competition is currently having, and additionally make the car really start to reason and think like a human, and also make up scenarios of a potential future. Actually, in fact, many of them, and leveraging the compute power that NIO cars have. Remember, a NIO car has sometimes up to 10x of the compute power, for example, than a Tesla has. And what NIO is intending to do here in order to make it more and more safe is that the car can make up many, many scenarios and think of them, dream of them. That was the analogy that Ren Xiaoqing has been using, as a human would, and imagine what could be a potential situation, and based on that, make smarter decisions. And well, what we can see here is that this ride has obviously been flawless, but it's only been pushed by a account on Weibo called Harry_AD, which is somebody working at NIO. I can show it to you, this guy, because it was rumored that they may actually be launching that over the weekend, this weekend. And indeed, there was a presentation also by this person. So this is an official NIO presentation. However, the only thing that I've been talking about or showing actually here regarding the new world model, and at least I didn't mention it really, was this parking lot or parking garage use case here. So not going into announcing the full launch of the NIO World Model here, or showing something like this video that I've shown you before, but only one specific feature really, which kind of makes us think when and how they're going to launch it. Now, I think what we're going to get is that this software will come to NIO cars with the next software update, and it will come to no matter which car platform you're on. If you're NT 2.0, that means the old chipset, you will get it. If you're on the 2.5, so the latest update, you will get it. If you're on the ET9, you will also get it, although it will be based on a different chip, right? The in-car chip, which NIO has self-developed. So it's only after this video and this little company presentation that we are actually getting the first people talking about and leaking that they have been able to test ride it. So apparently social media accounts, I cannot verify them. I don't know them in person. So take it with a grain of salt here. But he's saying, I just tried the NIO World Model, undoubtedly the first tier. So that's meaning the first tier should be Huawei or maybe Tesla, FSD in China, and so on. And he's been saying the same thing. Like, he's been testing it on the old model, old with 4 Orin X chips. And most importantly, it's much better than Huawei. You don't see that here on screen. Let me zoom out a bit. So here saying it's much better than Huawei. That's a big statement, to be honest. But it's interesting that now we see more and more of these car influencers seemingly getting the ability to test it out on old models, and they are seemingly very exciting, newbie. So it's basically saying I'm very, very impressed with what I've witnessed and saw. So that seems to be in line with this little video, which was kind of a teaser to what to get and what to expect. And this whole story tells me that NIO is approaching this very cautiously, very carefully, as opposed to what we see by other brands. For example, Xiaomi had lots of bad press recently because of many cars are being involved in accidents, partly on their driver assistance systems, and most famously during the Shanghai Auto Show, which I visited in China, they did not launch the U7 SUV. Because of those issues, and also the government launching kind of a crackdown or new regulations saying, people cannot just, or the companies cannot just go and advertise too many functionalities that are untrue or that are dangerous to the public. So I said before that this could also be a coincidence with Tesla FSD being pushed in China, maybe through some loopholes and ways that may have not been really in consensus with the regulators. And long story short, I think this is why NIO and basically now all of the OEMs are becoming more careful in the way they are launching such self-driving systems. And for NIO, especially with this premium to luxury segment they're in and their branding and how they're perceived as very, very safe cars, they cannot mess with this situation and cannot go in and say, look, we're pushing something here that has not been tested thoroughly. But I think now it seems they are ready to pushing it out into the market. I think it will put NIO back up there, like those users are saying, to the first tier in the perception of a technology company, a company that is competing on such technology. But we won't see NIO going out there like an Elon Musk and saying, look, guys, we're going to take over the whole market and we're going to launch robo taxis. We're going to launch a car hailing service and stuff like that. And I will not promise you can basically rent out your car and let it drive as a autonomous fleet model. That's not NIO. I think what NIO will be pushing is hopefully real data about the safety of their systems, how many accidents have been prevented, how much time it has freed for the users, and then hopefully also some user satisfaction scores around that. But it will bring NIO back in the perception of, in this competition, that they are one of the leading ones when it comes to those capabilities. And frankly, those systems are now seemingly getting very, very good. And when some people here are saying it's even better than Huawei, then I'm really looking forward to in which aspects, because Huawei, and I've tested that one myself as well, is really damn good already. But this new approach, I've never doubted that brilliant people like Ren Xiaoqing have something else that they can put on top of that. This approach seems to be unique. It seems to be the first world model, and I can only imagine that if NIO is ready to push something out like this, then it should also be more, let's say, on the finalized, refined side of things. Although in the past, and that's also where some of the disappointment has come from NIO with the NOP Plus pilot which they launched, it has just not worked out the way it should have. And we've seen those disengagements and hands off and driver interventions and stuff. But if it's really going to be like that, like such situations, driving out of roundabouts, unprotected left turns and stuff like that, that's going to be very impressive. That's going to be a serious new competition in that field. And the fact that they're pushing that not only to the new latest models, but also to the older previous generations with the orange chips tells me that this is also true in NIO's philosophy of enabling long usage of their products, in that sense sustainability, but also a high satisfactions of users that don't have to buy the latest version necessarily in order to get those latest updates. So very soon, it's a matter of weeks, we should hear from those software updates and see maybe more of these videos. But I'm not entirely sure how NIO is about to promoting that and marketing that by them, in the official company narratives. Again, this video is just pushed on Weibo by one of these employees, but in the official presentations, they don't seem to be that outgoing about the world model yet. So that seems to be what we need to watch. And then I can only imagine that they will push the safety narrative, because that would also set them apart from the latest competition around Xiaomi and so on, which is now facing their own PR battle with all of the crashes of the Xiaomi cars and stuff. But let's see if they can recover now with the launch of the latest SUV version. Maybe time for another video on that. Thanks for watching and see you in my next video.